Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into a topic that's reshaping how businesses handle customer service across Europe. We're talking about AI voice agents, specifically how enterprises in Rotterdam and beyond are moving beyond traditional call centers and chatbots to deploy conversational AI that actually understands and anticipates customer needs. Sam, this feels like a pretty significant shift from what we've been seeing even just 2 years ago.
Absolutely, Alex. And what's fascinating is the timing. We're seeing this convergence of three things: the EU AI Act, providing actual regulatory clarity, massive improvements in natural language processing, and frankly, customer expectations that have become impossible to meet with old-school call center models. The market data backs this up. We're looking at a $37 billion conversational AI market by 2028, growing at over 23% annually.
That's a huge number. But I think what makes Rotterdam particularly interesting is that it's not just an abstract market opportunity, right? This is a port city dealing with real logistics complexity. What kinds of pressures are enterprises actually facing that make voice AI such an attractive solution?
The economics alone are compelling. A human agent-handled call in the EU costs $3 to $5. An AI voice interaction? 0.15 to 0.30. But cost isn't even the biggest issue. It's the operational constraints. Shipping companies need 24/7 support across 4 or 5 languages. Scaling that with humans is either prohibitively expensive or you compromise on quality. And then there's the expectation piece. 72% of customers expect their issue resolved on the first contact. Traditional systems hit maybe 30% FCR rates. AI agents are getting to 68 to 75% when they're properly trained.
So we're not just talking about cost savings, we're talking about actually delivering a better customer experience while doing it cheaper. That's the kind of win that makes executives pay attention. Walk me through what makes these voice agents different from, say, the old IVR systems people have been dealing with forever.
Night and day difference. Old IVR is basically an automated menu. Press 1 for shipping status, press 2 for billing. It's rigid, frustrating, and most people end up hitting the operator button anyway. A modern AI voice agent? A customer calls and says, "My shipment hasn't arrived." The agent accesses the tracking data in real time, figures out why it's delayed, offers compensation options, maybe reschedules delivery, all in natural conversation. If it needs human intervention, it hands off to a specialist with complete context.
That's a huge difference in experience. Behind the scenes, though, how does that actually work? What's the technical architecture that makes that possible?
3 core layers. First, automatic speech recognition, ASR, converts voice to text with 95% plus accuracy, even in noisy port environments. Second, natural language understanding extracts what the customer actually wants, their ID, shipment number, the real issue. Third, and this is where it gets interesting, large language models generate contextually appropriate responses and reason through multi-step problems. It's not template-based, it's genuinely conversational.
And I imagine in a port city like Rotterdam, you've got another complexity layer: multiple languages. How do voice agents handle that?
That's actually one of the biggest advantages. Modern systems handle code switching natively. A Dutch customer might start in Dutch, switch to English for technical terms, back to Dutch. A human agent needs months of training to do that. An AI agent just does it. You get native-level support in Dutch, English, German, French, whatever your operations need. And since these agents don't need sleep, don't call in sick, and don't slow down at 4 p.m. on a Friday, you actually get consistent quality across all hours.
So let's ground this in reality for a second. What does deployment actually look like? If I'm a Rotterdam-based logistics company and I'm thinking, this sounds great, but how do we actually implement this? What's the path?
That's where the enterprise piece really matters. It's not just spinning up a chatbot API. You're integrating with your CRM, your shipping management systems, your billing platforms, probably your WhatsApp or email channels too. You need to ensure compliance with the EU AI Act. documentation, bias testing, human oversight protocols. You're building what we'd call an AI center of excellence, even if it's a small team, and you need proper governance, how to handle escalations, when to route to humans, how to audit interactions.
That governance piece seems critical, especially with the EU AI Act being so new. Are companies struggling with that?
Less than you'd think, actually. The EU AI Act for most customer service applications isn't as restrictive as the headlines suggest. It's about transparency, documentation, and maintaining human oversight, which good enterprises want anyway. The companies that struggle are the ones trying to deploy without understanding their own risk profile. If you're in financial services or healthcare, you need more rigor. Logistics or e-commerce, the compliance bar is more manageable, but you still need to think through it.
Okay, so let's say a company gets serious about this. They decide to move forward. What's the real ROI timeline? Are we talking months or years before this pays off?
The math moves fast. If you're handling even a few thousand calls a month, you're looking at 6 to 12 months to break even on the investment, assuming your implementation is solid. But the real gains aren't just cost, they're capacity. You can handle 3x the call volume without hiring 3x the staff. Your FCR rates go up, which reduces repeat calls. Customer satisfaction typically improves because people aren't stuck in menu hell. And your team can focus on high-value, complex interactions instead of routine questions.
That last point is interesting. It's actually letting your human team do more interesting work. That's not always how automation gets framed. What about the human element? Aren't people concerned about being replaced?
That's a fair concern, but the data tells a different story. When enterprises implement voice AI well, they usually end up hiring more support staff, not fewer. The agents shift from handling routine, "what's my tracking number" calls to managing complex escalations, dealing with angry customers, solving unusual problems. Those are actually harder roles and often better paid. The attrition and burnout in call centers is real. Repetitive work, constant pressure, no autonomy. AI handles the repetitive stuff. Humans do the high judgment work.
That's a more optimistic framing than I often hear. Let's talk about multimodal capability for a moment. I think there's something in the blog about customers moving between voice, text, email, WhatsApp, all seamlessly. How realistic is that?
Very realistic, actually. Modern AI architectures handle this natively. A customer might call with a complex issue, get the answer, then receive an email follow-up with a visual shipment map. They might continue the conversation via WhatsApp for a quick status check days later. From the back end, it's the same AI system, same context, same conversation history. From the customer's perspective, it feels natural and coordinated.
So there's no learning curve for the customer. They interact however they prefer. That's pretty elegant. What about data security and privacy? That seems like it would be even more critical with voice data.
It's critical, and it's non-negotiable, especially under GDPR. Enterprise deployments need encryption end-to-end, strict data retention policies, auditing of who accesses what. The good news is that modern platforms are built with this baked in from the start, not bolted on. And honestly, a well-governed AI system often has better audit trails than a human-handled call ever did.
All right, let's wrap up with a practical takeaway. If someone listening is thinking about exploring this for their organization, what's the first step?
Start with an honest assessment of your current customer service operation. How many calls or inquiries do you handle monthly? What's your FCR rate? Where are the bottlenecks? Then, run a small pilot with a specific use case, maybe shipment tracking, maybe refund requests, something well-defined with clear success metrics. Don't try to deploy across your entire operation day one. Pilots teach you what you actually need before you invest heavily.
Smart advice. And for folks who want to dig deeper into this, including specific implementation frameworks and governance best practices, we've got you covered. Head over to EtherLink.ai, where you'll find our full article on AI voice agents for customer service, tailored specifically for enterprises in Rotterdam and across Europe. Thanks for joining us on EtherLink AI Insights. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Alex. Great discussion.